Hello and welcome to Dragon Island. This is a demo for a visual novel that's coming up. As you can see, it has a little Kickstarter and you can wishlist it on Steam. So yeah, it's a Steam visual novel. And it is a very steamy visual novel. As you can see by the protagonist, who is this shark dragon dude. So yeah, I only played a little bit of it before I decided to record it, so it's pretty lewd, especially this guy. He's very lusty after the other characters. But for now there is no nudity or anything that I actually have to censor, so that's good. So the only thing that I can tell you before, spoiling it, is that everyone's a dragon. And everyone is either like a something dragon, like a bull dragon, eastern dragon, a winged dragon, a shark dragon like this guy, and yeah, they're all dragons. Hence the name Dragon Island. And the island itself looks like it's shaped like the head of a bad dragon. If you know what that is, then a cookie for you. If you don't, then you don't have to go looking for that. But yeah, well, anyways, let's begin. That's the bull dragon. Dear Henry Heimlich. Oh yeah, they have puns for names. Congratulations on becoming the lifeguard for Dragon Island Summer Party trademark. Dragon Island trademark is committed to providing irreplaceable professional services to our guests. We believe that your professional skills will meet the requirements for our guests. We have chosen to hire you not only for your professionalism, but also for other reasons. We hope that you will give full play to your strengths in your work. Tickets for the ferry to Dragon Island, trademark, are enclosed with this letter. Please show up at the ferry of Dragon Island Ferry Co. on time. Gordon Danum. Off the southern coast of the Republic of Shang, there is a private island resort called Dragon Island. VIP celebrities and the wealthy elite are invited there every summer to indulge in the pleasures of life on the beautiful beach. I never dreamed that I'd see it for myself, much less go there in person, but... Wait, you thought I got an invitation? As if that had ever happened. I'm just working there as a lifeguard. Of course, everyone said that I was lucky that my resume was the one that they picked. But I'm not sure if it was just luck. Oh wait, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Henry Heimlich, and I'm 33 years old. I used to work at the Sun City Swimming Center as a lifeguard. As a shark dragon, I'm considered to be pretty exotic, even for a place like Sun City, so I tend to stand out. But after so many years, I've gotten used to the relaxed pace of life here. All kinds of people of different species from all over the world come to Sun City for one reason or another, be it for business, pleasure, or just passing through. Many of them stick around and settle here due to the place's comfortable and tolerant atmosphere. That includes me, by the way. But right now, I'm taking a bumpy bus ride to Sun City Pier. Both the acceptance letter and the ferry ticket to Dragon Island that came with it said to be here by 2 p.m. sharp, so I need to get there as soon as possible. If I miss that boat, I'll be missing out on more than just a paycheck. The acceptance letter also said that I was selected for other reasons. When I read that, I couldn't help but think. The next time you do any part-time work at the beach, be sure to avoid anyone with a camera. The lurch of the bus coming to a sudden stop at the pier shook me out of my thoughts. A slightly salty breeze blew in through the window I had rolled down. The Black Tiger driver turned the key and the dull, vibrating roar of the bus's engine was replaced by the soft sound of waves. The port didn't have a whole lot of greenery, and the summer sun was shining brightly down on us. I adjusted the brim of my hat and carefully held onto the railings as I exited the bus. The gray-blue water lapped at the long, dull gray concrete dike, while the boats bolted to the bulwarks swayed with the waves. The large, fancy-looking yacht was moored at the far end of the pier. As I walked closer, I heard several people talking loudly from on board. There are other passengers here? Am I on time? I unlocked my phone and looked at the time. 1:50. Not too late, lucky me. And right now, you can actually look at his phone. Apparently he's behind on some bills. I really hate my mouse because it scrolls and it does this a lot. Anywho. What's he been calling? Doesn't look like there's a good reception out here near the sea. I carefully climb up the gangway and lean into the cabin doorway. There was a sudden lull in the conversation as the passengers in the cabin turned to look at me as I entered. Well then, seems like we've got a full boat. Looks like we get to leave early after all, folks. Welcome aboard the Misty Dragon. I am Captain Liang Shiman. But just call me Liang, or Sir, if you're feeling respectful. His name sounds native to Sun City, but he doesn't look like any of the native dragons I've seen. Maybe his family moved here a few generations back or something. The sturdy grey dragon straightened his uniform collar, produced a ticket punch from his pocket to mark my ticket, then firmly shook my hand. Bon voyage, call me if you need anything. Liang suddenly turned to me and said, Just so you know, there's a seasick bag on every seat. Grab one if your stomach starts feeling weird. I picked a seat and sat down, piling my bags down next to me. The engine at the back of the boat rumbled to life. An expressionless brown bear, dockman unhooked the cable tethering us to the dock, and the mountains near the shore began to recede at a leisurely pace. Soft music, the kind that plays on every sightseeing ferry, began to play over the radio as the six of us began our journey to the Dragon Island. Dragon Island. This goes by way too fast that I can't read it. But you can see all the characters that are going to appear. Probably should be reading this. This is, it might have a type of mystery thing going for it. So that's why they include the phone and the memo system, and then you being able to basically, like, question all the characters to get as much information as possible. And I guess there's some timed events too. But we won't be able to see that, I think, until the actual final game. The ship slowly left the shore and sailed into the calm sea. As the waves gently splashed against the hull, everyone on board began to look at each other tentatively. Looks like everyone wants to get acquainted with each other. Two of us went straight to the deck while the other three remained in the cabin. Maybe I'll chat with Liang later and see if I can explore the cockpit. Heh, explore the cockpit. Well, let's start talking with these three dweebs first. There were three other dragons sitting in the cabin. A white feathered dragon, a bull dragon, and an eastern dragon with very familiar colors. I should probably get acquainted with everyone while we're on the boat. If I'm going to be working on the island with them for a while, I should at least be friendly and get to know them. Speaking of which, was everyone here invited, or is one of them my employer? Who to talk to? Let's talk with Kevorkian first. The white dragon was curled up in a seat out of direct sunlight, his large wings raised to shade him from the sun as much as possible. He's got a fluffy sunproof coat, so why is he trying so hard to avoid the sun? Thoughts of vampires flash through my mind. Thoughts of a stuffy bed chamber with the curtains drawn tight, the icy body of the vampiric feathered dragon pressed against my back. His slender, snow-white arms wrapped tightly around me. Frozen in time and perpetually young, he's forced to stand on tiptoe so that he could just barely sink the sharp fangs of his upper jaw into my neck. His breath, moist with blood, tickled my scales as something hard rubbed up against the root of my tail, grinding against me, with the rise and fall of my panicked breath. Okay, that's getting too intense. I need to chill. As you can see, this shark dragon is very horny. I carefully made my way down the aisle, holding onto the tops of the chairs as I passed. The white dragon raised his head and looked up at me curiously. The corners of his mouth twitched, but no sound came out, and his hands began to fidget. Looks like I have to make the first move. Hi, I'm Henry. I'll be working as a lifeguard. A lifeguard? Well, you won't have to worry about fishing me out of the sea. Eh? Wait, do you mean you're also... If everyone else here was a lifeguard, then maybe the invitation to the island was for some wealthy pervert with some very specific interests. You misunderstood. I mean that I won't be going in the water if I can help it. The white dragon slowly lowered his wings and extended a slender hand to me. I'm Black Kevorkian. Nice to meet you. Wait, how old is this guy? He looks like a kid. Are you a student? Out of curiosity, are you an international student? What high school are you studying at? I'll have you know that I am in 3rd year at university. 3rd year! If this were some fantasy story, the sheer intensity of his aura would have blown me off my feet. I am just small for my age. Don't assume that will always be the case. Huh. Right. Sorry. My bad. Black then stretched out his wings and flapped them dramatically in front of me. If these enormous wings of mine didn't suck up all my developmental nutrients, I'd likely be taller than you. They are very big wings indeed, and pretty ones too. I could only imagine what you could do in the air with wings like those. These invitation letters are pretty fancy. I'm not used to getting things like these. You received a letter too? I thought you were a staff member like the captain. I guess I'm part of the staff considering I was hired to be a lifeguard. Perhaps the letter was included so that there'd be something to attach the ticket to. So can I ask a question? I suppose so. Why did you get invited to come to Dragon Island? Do you and the organizer know each other or something? That's my own business. Before I could pull out the letter, Black's expression darkened, and he drew back from me. And I don't recognize this Gordon Dame in person. I only know a Gordon Ramsay. Black doesn't want me to know why he's here. I guess I'll figure out why later. I wonder why these other guys were invited. Maybe I should ask around. Why won't you go swimming? We're going to Dragon Island. Are you sure you're not going to have some fun at the beach? Absolutely not. I don't want to get stung by a jellyfish. He glanced away from me with a huff. The beach should have a protective net, so that should keep out the jellyfish, right? I'd rather not risk it. Okay. Why are you avoiding the sunshine? You seem to be hiding from the sunlight. Because I don't want to be in the sun. But you don't have any scales to dry out, so why? I still don't like the sun. Then why? Call it a force of habit, one that's hard to change. Okay. Anyway, it's none of your business. There's that intensity again. Alright then, let's talk to someone else. I walked towards the brown bull dragon by the window. He was holding a thin booklet, flipping through it and using the sunlight as a reading lamp. Noticing my approach, he tucked the booklet into his pocket before giving me a warm smile. Given your state of dress, I assume you're a lifeguard. His smile looks strangely familiar. Napoleon King, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Henry, I'm a lifeguard, and the pleasure's all mine. You have a familiar smile. I don't want to sound weird, but your smile is familiar. Have we met somewhere before? Perhaps you've seen me on television, or on ads for Black and White Bull Bakery. Black and White Bull. Wait, that's it. You're that Napoleon? I should have known. Every time I see you, you're in that pink apron with a smile that's nice and warm. Actually, I wanted to say something else. It warms my heart to know my smile left such an impression. It's kind of hard to miss considering how often I've seen your ads. And don't forget the tagline, pastries as warm as our smiles. I wouldn't mind some hot cream filling, or at least a light glazing. So, why is your bakery named Black and White Bull? Because I am a bull dragon? Doesn't that seem reasonable? But you're brown. Black and white is much more distinctive. If you've seen the store, you'd agree. Seriously, that's all? I thought there was some deeper meaning. And besides, everyone always associates cows with black and white. Obviously, there are also Swiss brown cows, but such a pity for the brown cows to give so much milk only to be upstaged by Holsteins. Oh well. Your specialty desserts. So, what sort of pastry are you good at making? Why don't you guess? Sounds like he gets this question a lot. The obvious answer is Napoleon cake, but it's actually cinnamon rolls. Isn't it cinnamon rolls? Wahaha, very good. Looks like all the money and time spent on advertising worked, if that was the first thing you thought of. Perhaps I should make a tray of them for you sometime. I think I might prefer something a bit meatier than that. I bought a few of the signature cinnamon rolls from your bakery before. They're really nice with black tea. No. I mean proper cinnamon roll, not those mass-produced pastries that come out of the central kitchen. Though I'll admit, those are still pretty good. When I bake them, I not only use much more controlled heat, but I also have a special ingredient. Let me guess. Love? No. I could just imagine Napoleon carrying a big platter of cinnamon rolls and wearing nothing but a thin pink apron over his thick bulge. Just as he raises his hand to feed me a sticky icing-covered cinnamon roll, he leans in close with that warm smile, presses a finger to my lips, and whispers. And that's all there is to it. You can try it at home, although they probably won't be as good as mine. Still, it would be much tastier than something you'd buy in a store. Ugh, looks like my fantasies distracted me from his recipe. Hey, did you receive a letter too? I pulled my own envelope out and Napoleon pulled out a similar one out of his pocket. I assumed everyone else had received one. Can I ask you why you were invited to the island? Well... Napoleon nervously clenched the hem of his shirt as he looked off to the side. I received an invitation to come on holiday. The host is one of my, let's just say he's a fan of mine. He wanted me to make an island-inspired dessert. Napoleon is a celebrity baker. Black doesn't want me to know why he's here. I guess I'll figure out why later. I wonder why these other guys were invited. Maybe I should ask around. I approached the suit-clad Eastern dragon who was sitting alone by the window. He was busy fretting over the parrot seated on his arm. As I came closer, he lowered the arm the parrot perched on and turned his eyes to me. Hello, I'm Henry. I'm gonna be your lifeguard, I think. I am Chang Hu from Chang and Associates. Glad to meet you. The parrot sidled up his arm to his jacket pocket, then reached its head in and pulled out a business card. Chang Hu took the business card from the bird with his index and middle fingers, turned it up and handed it to me. Wow, your bird's amazing. His name's Polly, and he's very clever indeed. Watch this. He took out an expensive-looking cell phone and played a sound, while expectantly watching the parrot in his hand. Welcome to Chang & Associates! Wow. How's that for a trick? Amazing. Out of curiosity, how long have you had Polly? Oh, he's been with me since I established my law firm. Between handing out my business cards and welcoming clients, he's basically my personal assistant. What a smart and clever little guy. I reached out and gently stroked the top of Polly's head. As if in reply, Polly tilted his head and made a chattering noise at me. I've recently been trying to teach him how to pluck out gray hairs. Is it working? Not really. He's either colorblind, or he just really likes pulling on my beard. So, what kind of law do you do? Any strange cases with twists, surprises, and turnabouts? I wish. Unfortunately, most real-life legal cases aren't as dramatic as Grace attorney trials. Running a law office isn't a game, but I do my best. Having said that, I'll admit that I may have chosen law school after playing the Grace Attorney trilogy. And at my level of practice, I'm able to be a bit, picky when it comes to clients. Would you lower your standards a little if you never had a satisfactory case? That kind of thing hasn't happened yet. But if you have any legal problems, feel free to contact me, though I'll warn you, my rate is $5,000 per hour. That would blow through my entire savings in less than a minute. I wonder if he'd accept other forms of payment. Maybe he'd shove me under the desk and pull down his legal briefs, growling at me to be quiet as I struggle to breathe and give my oral argument because his next client will be coming in soon. If that's the case, I wouldn't mind chatting as long as he likes. Jesus, this guy. If you don't mind me asking, what brings you to the island? Actually, I was going to ask you the same thing. Let's just be straight for once. I applied to be a lifeguard and my resume got picked. Well, you won't have to worry about me. Not planning on going in the water? Please, Eastern dragons like me are natural swimmers. That's true. I'm just going to be here on vacation, but I didn't expect to run into a lifeguard like this. So he's just on vacation? Is that really all there is to it? Is whoever invited you to the island the same as this person? I pulled out the letter I received and showed him the signature on it. Yes, that's him. He stroked his beard thoughtfully and continued. I know him. He's an old client of mine. Napoleon is a celebrity baker. Black doesn't want me to know why he's here. I guess I'll figure out why later. Cheng Hu is invited here for a vacation. I wonder why these other guys were invited. Maybe I should ask around. Now let's go meet the other two. The Azrael-looking dragon and the chubby-looking one. Who actually reminds me of, God, what's his name? The guy from Minotaur Hotel. Oh, I forgot his name. I lifted the hatch and climbed onto the deck. It seems that the other two dragons I saw earlier also wanted to come outside to enjoy the sea breeze too. A goat dragon was squinting into the distance at the sea in front of him. In fact, I couldn't tell whether his eyes were open or not. There was also a very round eastern dragon holding onto the railing and looking intently down at the water. I was actually a little worried that he'd crush the railing with the sheer mass of his body. Who to talk to? Squinty-eyed dragon. I walked over to the goat dragon and stood with him at the bow of the boat. He turned his head to look at me, still squinting. Are you also here to seek the magnificent beauty of the purest blue, where the cerulean sky and the deep ocean mingle at the horizon? Yeah, I came to look at the sea too. I'm Henry Heimlich, a lifeguard. I reach out and took his soft, fur-covered hand in mine. Brilliant red and crisp white on amber scales. Such an enthusiastic color scheme, yet so refreshing. I am Katsushika Yoshida, or Yoshi if you prefer. My eyes couldn't help but drift downwards to his apron. Don't be horny, please. You seem to be partially sensitive to color. I would not say I am sensitive, but as a student of art, I do try to cultivate an awareness of it. That's when I noticed the paint spots on his clothes. Wait, your clothes are all spotted with paint, but how come there's none in your hair? Yoshida stuck his tongue out at me. Are you saying you licked? Wait, aren't some paints really toxic? Not in small doses. Besides, when is beauty not worth a little danger? He's way too casual about poisoning. Did you also receive a letter from the organizers? I pulled out my own envelope and gestured to it, and Yoshida nodded. Yes, I received one. The paper's quality is quite excellent. I shall have to see about getting some for myself for sketchwork. Does the signature ring a bell? Gordon Damon is a name I have not heard of. This is the first time I have received a letter from this individual. May I ask why? He said that he, as the owner of Dragon Island, wanted me to come and paint his portrait on the beach as a promotion. Napoleon is a celebrity baker. Black doesn't want me to know why he's here. I guess I'll figure out why later. Yoshi was asked to paint a portrait of our common employer. Chang Hu is invited here for vacation. I wonder why these other guys were invited. Maybe I should ask around. Why would he ask you to paint his portrait? Seems a little weird. Maybe he was a guest at my solo show last month at the Sun City Art Museum, but I would have noticed such a name on the guest list. Perhaps Gordon Damon is an alias? Why use a pseudonym when inviting people for a vacation? Perhaps as some kind of surprise, or perhaps he is simply shy. He really seems like a glass half full kind of fella. Okay, let's talk to the big guy. I cautiously approached the black Eastern dragon leaning against the railing. Hello, I'm Henry, your lifeguard. Oh, hello, I'm Mose. He turned around heavily, his protruding belly wobbling as he extended a thick hand to me. Since you're a lifeguard, you must be a good swimmer, eh? I'm alright, I guess. I'm good at getting drowning people to shore safely so that I can do first aid. I'm not a pro swimmer or anything, so don't expect me to break any speed records. Sounds like you're the kind of fella I'm looking for. Wait, you're not my mysterious employer, are you? Haha, I wish. I just run a seafood grill at the night market. What does that have to do with... You look like you could catch a fresh, large fish intact and keep it alive. Look, I'm the grill master, and you could be my gill master. Hahaha, you get it, son? I'm pretty sure you can't give a fish mouth to mouth. I mean, you're technically part fish, so you kind of could. You said your grill is at the night market. Which one? The one on Old Gula Street, next to the university. Wow, I bet you must make a killing with all the students coming in. Sure, unless it's summer vacation and they all leave. But summer break isn't for another week or two, so why leave now? Business always drops off in weeks leading up to it. Besides... He stroked the hair on his stomach and grinned. Who would miss an opportunity to go to the legendary Dragon Island? There was a long line of thick, coarse hair leading from his chest down to his enormous belly, like the white cap of a cresting wave. Oh god. I could imagine the pressure, like the weight of the ocean. God, I hate this guy. By the way, you said you run a grill, right? Uncle Mose Seafood changed it from Uncle Mose Barbecue recently. Why the name change? Too many damned barbecue stands around. Figured I could use some rebranding. Explains why I've never heard of it. Judging by your figure, I'm guessing you ain't much for barbecue, eh? Only had it a few times in college. It seemed a bit excessive for just one person. Tell you what, why don't you swing by my grill when we come back to Sun City? I don't suppose you give me a discount? If you can drag my fat behind out of the water, I'll let you eat for free. The joke's on him, since he probably floats like a buoy. I'll even throw in a platter of roasted oysters, free of charge. Let's talk about your belly. Moses seems to notice that I was quietly looking at his stomach. See something you like, eh? No, it's just that your barbecue must taste good. Hey, you know what they say, never trust a skinny chef. Uh-huh. I ain't modest, I take pride in my work, whether it's the ingredients, the sauces, or the cooking. I ride my bike to the seafood market and get everything fresh every day. I make my own sauces and marinades from scratch. When grilling, I control the temperature with extreme precision, so it's just right. Sounds like you work hard every day, but shouldn't that mean... Well, I have to make sure everything tastes good, so I may have a test skewer, or 3. Reasons to come. Out of curiosity, did you get a letter too? Yeah, good thing I opened it too. I almost used it for kindling. So, why were you invited here? Moses slowly put his stomach twice. I was asked to take charge of the barbecue for the beach party. Of course. So whoever invited you, he should be one of your regulars, right? Yeah, probably. Does this name ring a bell? Let me think. No, not really. I don't usually pay much attention to the signatures on the checks, you know? I guess so. So Mose is a grill master and Napoleon is a celebrity baker. Black doesn't want me to know why he's here. I guess I'll figure out why later. Yoshi was asked to paint a portrait of our common employer. It seems that Shanghu is really the only one here for a vacation. I doubt that. So I talked to all of them, now it's time to talk to the captain. I pushed open the cockpit door and stepped through. Liang was busy at the wheel, looking out at the water. The sun was slowly descending towards the horizon, and the sea breeze was beginning to cool. Maybe I should talk to the others while I've got time. No, we're gonna talk to this guy now, because we already talked to everyone. So, sir, how does it feel to work on the ship? It's fine. You travel between islands a lot? Nope. So, just between the island and the city then? Yep. Well, that's not bad. You get to see the sights on Dragon Island a lot, right? Liang shrugged his shoulders and continued to look at the sea. Doesn't say much, does he? This is a really nice boat. Is it yours? Nope, it's the company's. Most ship captains seem eager to talk about their boat, so I figured that's a stereotype. Well, this is different. You were all friendly and enthusiastic before we set out. It's the script. So, I'm backstage or something now? Pay no attention to the dragon behind the curtain. Doesn't say much, does he? Liang doesn't seem to be chatty, but maybe if I keep talking, I can get something out of him. So, I guess we're technically colleagues since we were hired by the same person? He looked at me and frowned, his ears twitching twice. Yeah. Do you know who our employer is? How should I put this? I don't really know much, really. Oh god, I forgot this happens. Since the time we communicate... Okay, this is the part where he just keeps on talking and talking and talking and talking, and it doesn't leave you enough time to read. Okay, sorry, I think I've said too much. That's alright, keep going. I'm not sure. He frowned again. It's the first time he hired me. Looks like that's all I'm getting from him. That said, the whole strong yet silent type is perfectly fine if he knows how to make me scream. Although he might just fall asleep on me right afterwards. Oh well, at least I could cuddle him. God, why do you have to be so horny? Well, I already talked to everyone, so... An island began to rise in the distance. Is that Dragon Island? Yep. So, are there any other guests coming, or are they already on the island? Dunno. Okay. Leon cleared his throat and pressed the button on the console before leaning over to a small upright mic. Attention all passengers, this is your captain. We are about to arrive on Dragon Island. Please return to your seats during the approach and docking at the pier. Thank you. I should get back to the cabin. Everyone else was in their seats as I entered the cabin. Who should I sit besides? Should I sit next to Dr. Kevorkian? If any of you recognize that last name, then that would probably give us like a very big hint as to why he's actually here. Should I sit next to the lawyer, the chef, the baker, or the painter? I don't like him because he kind of looks like Azrael, and I don't like Azrael. So it's either him or him. I'm gonna sit next to the baker. The boat was a little shaky this close to shore. I carefully made my way down the aisle and took a seat next to Napoleon. I should have asked earlier, but what's your favorite dessert? Actually, I like tiramisu. My favorite is tiramisu. No problem. I'll let you have a taste when the time comes. I don't know if there are enough ingredients on the island. But since I was invited to make desserts, it should be well stocked. Napoleon stretched the hem of his shirt and fell into a deep thought. After that, the conversation just sort of died out, leaving us in silence. The only noise that broke the silence was the roar of the cruise ship's engine and the sound of waves lapping at the hull. Maybe I should put on some sunscreen, considering how sunny the island's bound to be. I opened the carry-on bag I brought with me and took out the sunscreen. A sea breeze blew into the cabin through a nearby window. But just as I closed my eyes to enjoy the cool breeze... Ah! My letter! Attention passengers, please remain calm and stay in your seats. Everything happened so fast that I didn't have time to even think. I lunged out of my seat towards the open window, grabbing wildly at the letter as the breeze whipped in through the air. There may be some sudden shaking, Anne. Don't fall out the window! Oh shit! All of you, get out of your seats and brace for impact! I was leaning halfway out of the window open, my legs kicking in the air as I finally grabbed the envelope, and then the boat began to shake. All I had to do was pull myself back in. 3. Whoa! 2. I staggered, almost falling out the window as I tried. 1. Shit! Brace! That's kind of something I hate about this thing, is that I don't have enough time to read this, and I'm not even pressing the button. But, thankfully, there's a log. If only my mouse would scroll! Basically, it's my body is falling while my mind ascends. You know, if you didn't get to read that. Henry? Hey, you with us, Henry? Don't crowd around him, you idiots. Give him some space to... Poof. I'm going to call someone. I don't understand. I was following the route shown on the chart. There shouldn't have been anything to hit. The voices I could hear all around me slowly became clearer. I tried to open my eyes, but winced at the sting of the salt water. I felt something warm press into the side of my neck, like the fingers of a fluffy paw. I opened my mouth wide and tried to breathe, only to feel a rush of hot liquid escape my mouth as I coughed and sputtered. Breathe! My brain swam back into lucidity as oxygen refilled my lungs, Black was on one side, helping me up and slapping my back hard. You're finally awake. Any later and I would start doing CPR on you. I shouldn't find that sexy, but... You're lucky Chang Hu fished you out of the sea, so your lungs weren't completely full of water. You were spitting water like an Eastern dragon. Now, I'm soaked. Cough, cough. Thanks. Great, not even my first day and I almost drowned. Not a good sign for a lifeguard. Well, it seems like we won't be going anywhere for now. Let's look around and see if we can't find someplace to stay until we're rescued. Cheng Hu extended his hand to me. You're coming with us? Before I could respond, Black slapped Chang's hand and glared at him. He just woke up, let him rest. Alright, if you insist. Just take a break for now, okay? Have you been drinking or something? If anyone have gotten injured... Don't blame him. I was the one not staying in my seat. It's not just that. The damn boat ran straight into a reef and cracked like a creme brulee. We're shipwrecked. This shouldn't have happened. I was following the normal course, but I didn't expect a reef to be there and I tried to avoid. Wait, we can just call and have the Coast Guard pick us up. I already tried that, but there's no cell service out here. Napoleon held the phone up on me. I've been walking up and down this entire beach and I couldn't get anything. Wait a minute. There's a satellite phone on the boat. I'll call the mainland and have them send a boat to pick us up. Stay calm. They'll have experience in dealing with this kind of things, so they'll be able to handle it. Then I'll go with you. Alright. Liang slumped dejectedly and began walking towards the pier, with Napoleon close behind. Let's follow them. I got up and followed after Liang and Napoleon, wading into the water to reach the boat. Ah, good, you're here. Ahem, I think you're forgetting. If I fell in the water, would you fish me out, chef? Liang lifted the handset on the cockpit console and skillfully dialed out a long sequence of numbers. Hello? Ni hao? Ahem. Pan pan, pan pan, pan pan. This is... God damn it, I don't know what we hit, but we advise that there... Our ship is heavily damaged and there's 7... Please send the ship to retrieve us as soon as possible. Over. I really hate that he does that. Roger. Misty Dragon will send a boat to Dragon Island in 2 days. Please maintain regular contact. Over. Right. Understood. Over and out. Liang hung up and left without a word. He acted surprisingly fast. Did you see the number he dialed? I lost track after the first 5. Anyway, help should be on their way, so we just need to wait patiently for them to pick us up. Why do we have to wait for 2 days? Perhaps our host doesn't want anyone else to come here until the party's over. I just hope things haven't been cancelled because of this. I'm still waiting for that tiramisu. You shall have it. Trust me. Napoleon and I followed Liang. By the time we arrived, Mose had piled the luggage onto 2 piles while Yoshi had been collecting seashells. Meanwhile, Cheng Hu was bent halfway over, his hands on his knees as he breathed heavily like he'd been running. Are you guys ready? We found a place to stay. Chang bent over and, resting his hands on his knees, tried to catch his breath. Are you okay? You look like you ran a marathon. Wait, where's that little white brat that went with you? He said that he was tired from walking, so I asked him to wait at the villa. Let's not delay long, right? Alright, we're on our way. Mose promptly hefted 4 of the suitcases into and under his arms, snared the 5th with his tail, then trundled off after Cheng Hu. Looks like all 3 of my suitcases were carried off by that big lug. That's a bit embarrassing. 3 suitcases? Who needs that many changes of clothes? Napoleon and Liang each picked up a travel bag and followed after Mose's retreating back. Yoshi ran over with a particularly big seashell in his hand and glanced around. Has everyone left already? I may have been a bit distracted. That's putting it mildly, but I'm glad you had fun. I tossed the bag to Yoshi, then picked up the rest and jogged after the others. We left the beach and moved onto a road paved with smooth stones, which led us through a small tropical garden. The garden was clearly well tended and quite lively. The pale pink frangipani was in bloom, and the broad leaves of the traveler's palm swayed in the wind. If Yoshi wasn't already tired from running around the beach, he'd probably exhaust himself here. Ah, finally, I knocked and knocked, but it seems nobody's inside. How annoying. No one? This makes no sense. This place looks like it's been taken well care of. If we can't get into the house, does that mean we're stuck outside for the next 2 days? If there's no one on this island, then perhaps our host lied to us. Black's wings went a bit limp as he became lost in thought. Ooh, perhaps this is some sort of fun little puzzle, like an escape room. Or perhaps they're preparing a surprise party for us. I checked the door handle. There wasn't any dust or rust on it. If anything, it looked like it had been cleaned and polished just recently. Now, hold on. Unless I miss my guess, there should be a key under here. Like we'd be that lucky. Mosa bent down and lifted the mat in front of the door, then triumphantly held up a key. Haha! I knew it! Wait, how did you know? You learn a lot from watching TV shows. Mose unlocked the door and opened it, then took in a long, deep breath before he roared into the room beyond. Is there anyone? Yep, definitely works the night market with those lungs. I don't need to yell to attract folks to my grill. However, this place is too quiet. It really looks like there ain't anyone here. This place does look empty, but it doesn't have that unattended house smell to it. And it seems like the air conditioning and electricity is on. Let's check the kitchen. The two Eastern dragons went into the kitchen together. Not long after, I heard the sound of running water coming from the kitchen. The taps are fine, and this place is fully equipped. Nobody is home, and yet the air conditioning is running? How wasteful. It's so neat and tidy, but no one's here. Kind of creepy if you ask me. Perhaps the previous guests just finished cleaning and left before we arrived? First, I doubt it. Second, do you really think we have to clean up after ourselves here? I thought this was like a bed and breakfast situation. I'm pretty sure an ultra-inclusive place like this would have people to handle that. Not to mention, we've yet to meet our host. What? This mysterious Gordon Damon on the invitation letter. I'm beginning to lose patience with this air of mystery nonsense, especially in this situation. If nothing else, I can't paint his portrait if he doesn't show up, right? As important as this discussion may be, we should move to the living room instead of lingering in the foyer. Standing around like this is tiring, and the sofa in there looks really soft. I suppose there's no harm in that. This place doesn't seem dangerous. Then I'll just go and sit Excuse me, Captain, but where are you going? I look back. Leung had grabbed his duffel bag and was already midway through the door when Black's voice had stopped him. I'm going back to the Misty Dragon. With so much going on, wouldn't it be safer if we stick together? I really don't think there's a room for me in this villa. Don't worry, if there aren't enough beds, I'm fine with sharing mine. Look, this isn't really my kind of place. I've got a hammock on the bridge where I sleep just fine. I'm already used to it, so there's no trouble. It's probably more dangerous to sleep in a shipwreck. Come on, I'm sure your boss won't mind if you stay with us at our request, right? Fine. I dragged Leon back into the house. Just as he stepped into the door, Yoshi came running from the living room. Hey, Captain! What now? Are you familiar with the island? I was considering locations on Dragon Island to paint at before the owner arrives. Where is the highest place on the island? Can you take me there? You guys have fun. I think I'll go look. Henry, wait! Yoshi thrust a piece of draft paper in my general direction. What is this? Whenever I go to a new place for the first time, I always try to capture its beauty in my art as a souvenir. So I sketched out a rough structure of this villa's first floor. Could you help me check if it's accurate? Sure, I guess. When I have time. Whatever you find, please endeavor to keep me informed. By the way, what about the second floor? The rooms upstairs are locked. Ah, I see. I look up at the ceiling. I can see a camera and a projector hanging from it. Ah, a projector! Perhaps we could have a movie night? A group of people trapped on an island. I can only think of one movie. And that would be? And then there were none. Okay, so now we get to explore the house. Well, not really, but, close enough. Let's start at the living room. I'd better leave Yoshi alone with Leon for a while. Oh, I guess we are in the living room. Let's go to the cellar then. This seems to be a storage cellar. I opened up the floor-to-ceiling storage cabinets and looked through them. There was a camera mounted on the ceiling that overlooked the entire storage room. The owner must have some obsession with security, otherwise there wouldn't be cameras everywhere in this villa. The first cabinet had military emergency rations, first aid kits, and several large containers of fresh water, plus water purifiers and several desalinators. It looks like something out of a survivalist compound. The next one contained all kinds of tools, shovels, hammers, fishing rods, as well as a collection of seeds. Gee, I wonder why. Let's go around this way. Shang-Hu and Black were talking to each other as I walked into the dining room. Welcome, welcome! At Polly's announcement, they stopped talking. Cheng-Hu smiled at me and Black raised his hand in a casual greeting. Following the scent of food? From the time you entered this house, you seem to be wandering around. Were you looking for something? I'm just here checking the map that Yoshi drew. I showed them the map that Yoshi gave me. I suppose it makes sense, since our host isn't here, he had to find something to draw. I too should find something to occupy myself with before I start thinking about. I don't think he drew that out of boredom. So why draw it? He may just want praise. Maybe so. I looked at the ceiling and noticed more cameras mounted above us. How's the status quo? We haven't seen anyone else on this island yet. I think something sinister is afoot. Why? Sure, things haven't been great, but there's no need to jump to conclusions so quickly. Our only escape ship wrecked by a mysterious reef, a strangely empty resort island. Okay, I grant you that, but that may just be coincidence or poor planning by the host. There's also the fact that it'll take 2 days for rescue to arrive. There's an awful lot of coincidence right now. Only one explanation can reassure me a little. The only person here other than us is the owner of the island, and he's hiding somewhere, watching and waiting. But suddenly he encountered some health issue and can't execute his plan. That doesn't sound reassuring at all. If that's true, then the owner's life may be in danger. If that's not the case, then we're the ones that are in danger. Ooh. But you know the owner, don't you? Hey Chang, do you know who the island's owner is? Chang-Hu tilted his head and slowly stroked his beard. Sort of. He's hesitating. Maybe I can coax some info out of him. I mean, it's pretty clear he kept his identity secret, so why suddenly announce himself? I also find it very strange. He never mentioned to me that this island is his either. Considering none of us have seen him, we wouldn't even recognize his face. Wait, he's your client. You two should have met. What? You should know what he looks like, right? We only ever communicated by email. We've never met in person. So much for that. Suspicious. Polly? Hello? Good morning. It's afternoon, dumbass. I know he's Chang's pet and all, but now I'm half tempted to see if Mose can roast him. Polly has a bit of a smart mouth sometimes. Don't take it personally. Why would I do that? He's learned a lot of words from me, including some I'd rather he didn't. After hearing all the stories about Dragon Island, this place is nowhere near what I imagined. That's putting it mildly. Black clenched his fists as he hissed angrily, his face flushed. And here I was eager to gorge myself on fine meats, but even that is denied to me. Meat? But what Mose and Napoleon are busy cooking in the kitchen is... You wouldn't understand. Speaking of understanding, you are an awfully nosy individual. You've been pestering me ever since you got on the ferry. I'm just trying to be friendly, after all. It's better if we all get along while we're stuck on this island. Black sighed and looked up at me. Let's just say that there are certain matters involving me being on this island that I do not want to talk about. If you insist on being friendly, then I'd avoid such topics. Okay. Kevorkian. Let's look at the kitchen then. Napoleon and Mose went straight to the kitchen as soon as they entered the house. I guess that for them, a kitchen is as much a safe haven as it is a battlefield. I don't blame them. People have to eat after all. I slipped through the dining room past Sheng-Hyu and Black, who are talking amongst themselves, and stepped through a glass sliding door into the kitchen. Cameras were also planted in the kitchen, staring at us from the corner. Mose was holding the refrigerator freezer compartment open and glaring at the ingredients, while Napoleon, who had donned an apron, was carefully inspecting the stovetop and ovens with a clinical eye. Frozen scallops, frozen shrimp, frozen octopus. Ugh, all of this crap is frozen. If I fed this kind of stuff to my regular customers, I'd never hear the end of it. It all ends up the same way regardless of freshness. Considering you likely season and brush them with a heavy layer of sauce, it'll all likely taste the same too. Do I look like some amateur to ya? Clearly you've never had my grilled fish with sea salt before. If my ingredients ain't fresh, then I might as well shoot myself in the foot. I'm surprised that you can still see your feet. If you don't want them, I'll use them. Some of us aren't quite so picky. Mose grunted in irritation and looked over at me. Looks like you're on seafood catching duty. I'm a lifeguard, not a fisherman. Fish people ain't much difference, so unless you don't want to barbecue, hop to it. Let's talk to Napoleon. What was that for? Of all the things, you got your apron out first. Actually, there was a folded apron on the countertop when I came in. It looks exactly like the one you wear in the commercial. Napoleon blinked, then looked down at his apron again. It's really, I'm honestly not sure how I feel about that. Suspicious. Until now, we haven't seen anyone on this island, not even the owner. This is simply unbelievable, but thank goodness we have a decent cooking facility here. I don't know why his voice suddenly changed. Napoleon added cold butter to the dough as his tail leisurely swished. Then, what should we do next? Should we find the host first, or borrow Leong's satellite phone to call the police? First things first, dinner. Most people don't think straight with an empty stomach. After that, we can discuss our next move. You seem like the kind of guy who'd still eat on time if the world was ending. Food means energy to do things. Even armies march on their stomachs, right? I wouldn't exactly call us an army. Well, if you're that grumpy, I'll make sure you get seconds. He turned back to focus on his dough. Not to distract you, but have you always been interested in baking? Napoleon dusted off his hands and looked away from the half-rolled tart crust before him. Of course, I was always in the kitchen ever since I was about 5 or 6. My father taught me how to make desserts in his spare time, and I learned dozens of recipes. I'm so jealous. There's nothing that I envy. He pressed the tart crust into a greased baking pan and spread a bag full of baking weights across the tin foil to compact it. It has nothing to do with talent. It's all about just practice and learning. I just started a little early, that's all. I'm just jealous that you found something to be passionate about so early. Napoleon sighed and slid the baking sheet into the preheated oven. I suppose so. What are you making for dinner? So, what's on the menu for tonight? Napoleon was busy stir-frying some shrimp and bacon, only glancing away to check on Mose. I'm planning on a shrimp and bacon quiche, since Mose is busy having a snip about these disgusting ingredients. I told you, it's not disgusting, it's inappropriate. Okay, but you could make some vegetables to go with it. That much fat seems... Oh, go find some cabbage leaves to chew on. You guys have fun. I'll just see myself out. I think I get why there's only ever one head chef in a kitchen. Still have to talk to Mose. So how are you doing? If this island was supposed to be full of people, then where the heck are they? Even the owner of this place is gone. When I get my claws on him, I'll... Mose pulled a frozen fish out of the freezer and brandished it like a sword in my direction. Maybe he'll be here soon. I just hope he was just delayed by something. He better show up or... Seems that when an Eastern dragon gets angry, his beard starts shaking. Or what? Mose inhaled slowly, then wiped some water from the frozen fish on his belly as he turned his bared fangs into a friendly grin. Or he's going to miss the barbecue. Speaking of barbecue, what's on the menu? River fish, marine fish, shellfish, shrimp, crab, octopus, jellyfish. I'll grill basically anything. Most of what's on the menu is seasonal, since I cook whatever the fishermen catch. I told you, I'm on lifeguard. I don't know how to catch fish. Mose opened the refrigerator and pulled out 2 big eggplants. Then today's special is grilled eggplant with garlic. Normally, I don't serve eggplant. Mose pulled the dark eggplant against his dark scales, as though to compare them. Wow, it really matches your scales. And that's why I don't serve it. I don't want the customers getting any weird ideas. Right. So what's for dinner? Mose sliced the eggplant in half and started dicing some garlic. He just told you. I'm grilling some eggplant with garlic, and the fancy boy over there is trying to make something edible out of that frozen shrimp. You don't have to eat it. It's not like you can't stand to miss a meal. Keep it up, and next time I'll be serving fresh beef. Mose set up a grill on the stove, brushed a layer of minced garlic on the eggplant, and drizzled it with egg wash. Yikes. Let's look at the toilet, for some weird reason. I pushed open the door to the bathroom. Everything looked neat and tidy. There was a faint scent of fresh flowers in the room, and the exhaust fan was running quietly. There were even a few freshly picked red frangipani flowers on the vanity. The place was so pleasant that I could have probably done some yoga, if it weren't for the very obviously placed cameras. I get that it's for security, but putting cameras in the bathroom is a bit much. It's kind of creepy. Okay, now let's talk with the goat and the other dragon. I could see the garden through the living room window. It was easier to enjoy now that I had access to the air conditioning and cushy chairs. I took a seat on the couch near Yoshi and Liang and crossed my legs beneath me. Holding his sketchbook, Yoshi was eagerly fishing for answers about the features of the island out of Liang at a rate of about a word a minute. Well, take your time, but please tell me what you've seen of this island paradise. Pier. It's a pity that our ship wrecked so close to the pier. What else? What else? House and garden. Yes. But what else? Things that we haven't had a chance to visit yet. There's a beach and a hot spring. Oh, we can go swimming first and then soak in the hot springs. I wouldn't soak very long, or your skin will. What's the highest place on the island? Somewhere where you can see all the way to the horizon. The hot springs are on top of the volcano, so there I guess. Will it erupt though? No. Enough chatting for me. Liang hurriedly runs towards the bathroom. You're still here. Fine, I'll talk to Yoshi. Looks like we're stuck here for a while. We're here to have fun, so that's fine. Captain Liang said that by the time I finish painting the portrait, the ferry will come. No big deal. Maybe so, but still. If someone drowns or gets hurt, we'll have no way to send them to Sun City. Then don't drown. Besides, we still have a very reliable shark dragon lifeguard just in case. I guess so. Thanks for the compliment. I mean, he did almost drown himself, so... If whoever owns this island doesn't show, then how are you gonna paint his portrait? Seems like a waste. How can you say something so preposterous? I was paid a lot of money to come to a lovely island, so it's not a waste. But even if he doesn't come, I can easily sketch up and paint the tropical landscape. Ooh, or even some small portraits of everyone. Those would be nice. Anyway, it's still a bit weird that this mysterious rich guy who invited us here still hasn't shown up. Wealth does tend to breed eccentricities, yes? Let's just hope that his eccentricities don't end up putting us in danger. If you don't mind asking you, how much did the host offer you for the portrait? He gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. Oh no, does he mean? $2,000 plus a full set of new tools and paints. That's not what I was expecting. That's enough to eat barbecue every night for a month, I think. Ooh, so you use barbecue dinners as a measure of wealth? A man after my own heart. I guess I just picked it because I didn't usually have the cash to spend on something that expensive when I was your age. Well, with Mosa here, we'll have our own private all-you-can-eat barbecue restaurant. If you're still not sick of barbecue by the time we leave, maybe we'll stop by his place once we get back to Sun City? Absolutely, since I'll be flush with cash by then. Hehehehe. Looks like I'm not the only one who's bad at saving money. What's with the sudden urge to map out the island? There's no rhyme or reason to the urges of my artistic soul. I just became overwhelmed with the desire to paint or draw something, then I do it. I suppose it's that way with all creative endeavors. You don't need a special reason, just an idea and a desire to make it manifest. So what about this portrait you have to paint for her host? That's different, that's just work. You can see his eyes now. One's sort of amber and the other one's green. So I just finished walking around with the map of the villa you gave me. Oh, how did it go? Was it accurate? Very accurate, considering that we haven't been here for more than an hour or so. By the way, did you see the host anywhere? I've been everywhere on the ground floor and still no sign. How could this be? He paid me to paint him, but what should I do if the client doesn't show up? I still feel uneasy and I'm not sure why. Maybe you're just hungry? As if on cue, Yoshi's stomach let out a loud gurgle. Maybe we should meet with the others in the dining room? Quite. Yoshi put away his sketchbook and followed me into the dining room. Chang Hu and Black were still chatting in the dining room. Their conversation once again came to a screeching halt when we entered. Ah, you guys are hungry too? My stomach yearns to be filled. It whispers, "Feed me." The smell of grilled eggplant and seafood quiche wafted out of the kitchen, accompanied by the sound of Mose and Napoleon arguing. Yoshi sniffed the air and visibly relaxed. I found a bug right there. I don't know how long it will be before I can eat, but just smelling it makes me feel relaxed. After everything we've gone through, I think we can all use a treat. A nice big meal should improve our mood. Well, that's true. I probably shouldn't overindulge. I still want to stay in shape. You have the opportunity to eat meat and casually pass it by? Unforgivable. Phew, sorry. Was I late? The chefs haven't left their domain to visit us yet. Hopefully they'll be done arguing by the time the food is ready. Ding! The arguing stopped as the cheerful ding of a timer cut through the air. Now presenting the main course, shrimp and bacon quiche with Gruyere. Napoleon came out of the kitchen with his dish on a platter and set it lightly onto the table. Shrimp and bits of bacon poked out of the cooked egg of the quiche, their scents mixing with a slightly nutty smell of the Gruyere cheese on top. With a flourish, Napoleon produced a bread knife from his apron and moved to cut the quiche, then paused and glanced around the table. There's 7 of us. Should I try to cut it into 7 slices or do the standard 8? Cut it into 6. I can't eat it. Oh no, are you allergic to shellfish? If you let me know sooner, I could have baked you something separate. No, I can't eat meat. It's fine. I have my own supplies. Black pulled out a box of what looked like instant rice from under the table and ripped open the package. What is... Low-protein rice, to control protein intake. Sorry, if I had known, I would have prepared a separate dish for you. It's fine, really. I'd rather you not make a scene about it. Coming through, fresh eggplant, hot and ready. Mose strode out of the kitchen with a tray of roasted eggplant, hip-checking Napoleon out of the way before the quiche could be cut. Oof! The eggplant was fresh out of the grill, the still bubbling egg wash and garlic giving it a golden color. The plump, fat flesh of the eggplant looked almost like it was ready to dribble out. If you had said something earlier, I would have let the egg wash off. I only use it because it seals the garlic in. No, that's not necessary. It would be rude to barge into your kitchen and... Haha, I had worse things said to me. I ain't gonna be offended. All my customers know that they can just tell me to make something special if they have a taste. If I can't get the ingredients that day, I'll have them ready and waiting tomorrow. I'd be a pretty crappy restaurateur if I let one of my customers go hungry. Black nodded silently, not saying a thing. Napoleon rolled his eyes before carefully slicing up the quiche and carefully placing a piece on each person's plate. Mose likewise sliced up the eggplant and placed a few pieces on the side of each person's pie. Our first dinner on Dragon Island was a lively affair, although the meal itself was a bit strange. Still, Mose's roasted eggplant and Napoleon's seafood quiche both tasted great. With dinner out of the way, we all moved to the living room to discuss the day's events. Cheng Hu moved around the room with a nervous energy, poking at the projector and reaching up to inspect the security cameras. Liang silently half-straddled the arm of the sofa. Why would he sit so awkwardly like that? Or does he just find that comfortable? Black was sprawled out on the sofa like he just collapsed from running a marathon. Yoshi's creative energy wasn't exhausted, which was why he was at the window with his sketchbook even as it started getting dark. Soon, Mose and Napoleon both walked in from the kitchen after having cleaned up after dinner. Although they seemed to be cooperating, neither one looked particularly happy about it. Enjoying your stay on Dragon Island so far, everyone? Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice spoke up. Did someone say something? Don't look at me, I didn't say anything. Napoleon and Mose looked at each other, Chang Hu looked upwards while Black slowly sat up from the couch and looked around suspiciously. Could it be that the owner of Dragon Island is finally here? The voice was so sudden that I wasn't sure where it came from, but it didn't sound like it came from outside. I looked towards the door, but there was no one there. The sound came from this room. Chang Hu looked at everyone, one by one, like he was inspecting us. Ahem, over here! We all looked towards the direction of the sound, but only saw Chang Hu, who was standing in front of the projector. I didn't even move my mouth just now, so it's not me. It came from there. Chang Hu dramatically pointed a finger at the ceiling, and I followed the finger to the projector. That's got to be it. The voice is coming from the projector. This is no mere projector. This is an all-set, all-in-one home theater system. It can speak. Okay, I don't know which one of y'all is pulling this prank, but it ain't funny. Oh, you think this is a mere prank? Wait, it can hear us? It sounded like one of those old, dubbed movies. This is 21st century technology, not some old foreign film trick. Suddenly, the room went dark. The entire room was shrouded in shadow, lit by faint moonlight. The only thing I could see were Black's eyes shining red. Before we could get used to the darkness, the projector's lights suddenly turned on. Chang Hu's white shirt was covered with patterns mapped by the projector. Gah, what the? When Chang Hu stepped back, the projector's beam fell on the white wall of the living room and began to flicker. And suddenly the picture changed from a pool of light to a strangely sinister mascot character. I suggest you all take a seat like good little dragons. Don't want you fainting and bumping your little heads on anything. The voice was weirdly pitched, shifted, and low, like it wasn't able to be contained by the projector speakers. With all the lights off, it only made things feel that much more ominous. Now, it would be rude if I didn't introduce myself, even though you can all probably guess who I am. Are you the mysterious Gordon Damon? Maybe, but you can all call me by my true name. Demon Dragon. What? Hey, what gives? Calling us here and not showing up yourself? And that name, it sounds like a middle schooler's comic book character. Who cares about that? You wretched sinners should be more worried about yourselves. Are you kidding me? And what's with calling us sinners? None of us look particularly wretched either. The sins that you have committed already weigh heavily on your heart. I'm really not sure about this. Get to the point already. What's this all about? Ahem. I merely want to play a little game with you sinners. This isn't one of those killing games, is it? Games! Polly, shut up! What? Killing? Why would you assume? Oh, my appearance. Right. No killing. But this game does have delightful punishments depending on how you perform. No offense, but if this has nothing to do with painting, I'm out. I'll just wait for the boat to... How adorable. You thought the boat was on its way. What? I've recalled the rescue ship. If you want to leave this island, you'll have to play. Liang, I thought you made the call. I did. The slightest issue and you start becoming paranoid. Listen here, you can't imprison us on this island or keep us from leaving. Let us go immediately or what? You'll take me to court, Mr. Grace Attorney? Chang Hu growled as his whiskers twitched and fists clenched. He looked ready to punch something. Liang reached over and grabbed him by the shoulder, though Chang shrugged his hand away. I think you understand your situation now, right? There's no rescue, no escape until I'm satisfied. If you want to leave, just be good little dragons and listen. The picture on the wall switched to a slideshow. It seemed that this guy had a presentation. Fuck that! With an angry roar, Mose smashed the projector and plunged the room into darkness. Ugh, I guess the presentation wasn't fresh enough for you. Oh, you want a piece of me too? Everyone fell into a nervous silence. Dim moonlight shone through the floor-to-ceiling windows, faintly illuminating our faces. Nobody wanted to make the first move, like a group of children not wanting to be the first to answer a teacher's question. There were no words spoken, just the sound of breathing and anxiously swallowed saliva. We glanced at each other, eyes meeting and then passing over each other's faces in quick glances. Black's glowing red eyes did not move, and were struck gazing up at the ceiling. Why did the host invite us all here? Or were we all strangers and it wasn't like our paths had ever crossed before? Why did the boat get wrecked? Why was this island resort empty? And most importantly, was this demon dragon really our host? If so, why disguise himself behind a mascot character? And this game he talked about. Whatever he had in mind, I couldn't help but feel like I was in over my depth. Ding ding ding. The silence was broken as our phones began to chime, buzz, and ring incessantly. We've got cell signal? With trembling hands, I unzipped my pack and pulled out my phone as it vibrated and hummed. Normally, I would have let the call go to voicemail, but no. Instead of the phone call screen, however, I was greeted by a familiar dragon mascot peering at me. Did you really think that you could stop me by merely breaking the projector? His true face may have been obscured, but I was almost certain he was laughing at us. It's almost adorable, really. What is this, some kind of computer virus? Damn it! How are you doing this? When it was just a projector, I could have just said that this whole thing was a prank. But now, I couldn't be so sure. A billionaire's largesse could explain the yacht and the private island resort. But if he could control our phones, then his influence was far greater than I expected. Suddenly the projector lit up as ominous music began to play. The demon's voice seemed to pour in from all directions. Now listen up, I'm only going to say this once. The reason I invited the 7 of you to this island is because you all share the same trait. All of you have profiles on the Woohoo dating app. When you make your profile, you must choose between bottom, top, and switch, which is pretty self-explanatory. You all picked top, but only one of you is a true top! The demon dragon fell silent. I would have thought his microphone was turned off if it weren't for the slight rustling noise of the speakers. Was there some kind of gap in the script? Is he just pausing before saying, and that top is a murderer or something? And that's why you brought us to this island? That's it? Yes, now let's move on to the next. Hold on. You went to all this trouble to gather us here because someone lied on a dating app? Oh, come on, you can't actually be serious. What the hell are you trying to pull? It is a bit silly. More than a little. It feels like a half-baked plot device in a poorly made video game. Silence! I covered my ears as the speakers boomed. Such disgusting indifference! You sinners all deceive so many people and yet you refuse to repent. Moving on. There are rules for the game. Listen up if you still want to go back. 1. You have 3 days to find the true top among yourselves. 2. Each night, you will all vote anonymously on who the true top is, but only the final vote on the 3rd night will count. 3. If you fail to play along or run out of time, I will cut off the island's electricity and water supply, and, of course, your cell signal. 4. If you all guess correctly, then you'll be allowed to leave, but everyone will pay a small price. A notification popped up on my screen with a chime. I glanced at the others as they read their own screens. I nervously glanced at the others before tapping the notification and reading the message. The others at least had something I can threaten them with, but you have no status, career, or savings, so you have little to lose. But I can still buy your apartment complex from your landlord and get you evicted. Now that's just rude. Have you all finished reading? Good, because I'm moving on. 5. If you all choose wrong, then whoever is mistaken for the top will leave unpunished. There. Think of it as a demon's prize for the greatest sinner. I've always wanted to see if the Lord of the Flies was real or just an exaggeration of the author's fancy. So by all means struggle, squabble, stay on the island, and satisfy my curiosity. Nobody wants that. The first vote is in a mere 30 minutes. Now, please me with your lies, betrayals, and deceit. Let the game of Dragon Island begin. I take it it's over. Okay, so I guess these were the people that worked on it. And yeah, I have thoughts because I literally I spent a lot of time getting frustrated over. I guess we could look at the memo things. I guess I didn't bring this up when I was supposed to, but yeah. There's a memos where it tells you about like the character's information and stuff as it gets unlocked. And yeah. But anyways, one thing that frustrated me, and I haven't encountered it with any other visual novel to date, is that the rollback function is locked. Arknights. And what I mean is usually there's, you know, the back button like around the bottom part. And it lets you go back in case you accidentally pick the wrong thing, or in my case, if I read the line wrong and I accidentally click the spacebar, so I could just go back and read the line correctly. And unfortunately, see, it even moved. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that, so I can't do that. So what happened is in the section where the goat dragon is talking to Leong, I accidentally pressed the spacebar twice, and I couldn't go back. So I couldn't read those lines, so I had to go back, reload the game, and then basically skip everything. And I basically had to do all the choices too, because you know, you might miss something, and if you don't, and basically just get right back to that section and then literally just start saving from then on. Every single time I was about to do something, because I don't know if I was going to accidentally press the spacebar again or get the line wrong, which I did. I still got the lines wrong, and I couldn't go back and, you know, fix it. So now you're going to see, like, you're going to notice when I got them wrong, because it's not going to have like the typical, like the text, like typing itself out in the little text box. It's just going to like appear. So all those times that you notice that's because I got lines wrong, but I couldn't go back and, you know, do it so that it just rolls out naturally so you don't notice it that often. Stupid shark dragon. I'm just kidding. It's a very nice design. But please, and this might just be because it's a demo, but please put that rollback function back. And I was going to try to do it myself, but I can't unpack the RPA file. Like, every single time I try to do it, it doesn't do it. And I was just going to, just for the narration's purpose, I was just going to put the rollback function back, because I know you can do that. And it would just make it easier for me. Please, just put it back. But anyways, that aside, as you can see, this is sort of, I don't want to compare it to Zero Escape, because technically Password is doing Zero Escape. And I don't want to sound, what's that word, derisive or whatever. I don't want to sound like I'm like making fun of it or whatever, because Grizz, you're a good writer. But it's doing that thing where it's like you're locking a whole bunch of people in one place, and they have to do what you tell them. But in this case, it's kind of jokey. You kind of just have to find the real top. And I'm assuming it's gonna be this guy. But he's probably like a lazy top. That's like, yeah, I like to top, but I don't like to do anything. Which, I mean, aren't all tops lazy? Anyway, but yeah, if you could just give me back the back button, please. Please just give me back the back button. I will buy this if you put the back button. As soon as it comes out, I will buy it, and I will narrate it, but give me the back button. I need it. I am nothing without the back button. I am literally Spider-Man without, you know, when like Tony Stark takes away the suit. I need the back button. I can do it without it, but it's not gonna be that great. But anyways, so what do you guys think of the story? Is it interesting? Do you guys want me to do it? I mean, I'll still buy it, but you know, if you guys don't want me to do it, then I guess I won't put it on YouTube. And it is a little bit lewd, but as you guys know, I like to edit things. I like to censor the sprites and stuff, but if I can't do that either, then I guess I'll just have to censor it in post. So I'm assuming that there's going to be shenanigans in order to try to find the top. That's such a weird premise. I'm going to lock you guys in an island, and unless you tell me who the real top is, I'm going to leave you guys there. Although that's a little weird because it's try to find the real top, but if you all find the real top, then I'm going to punish you guys. But that doesn't make sense. So yeah. Wouldn't have been if you all find the real top, then I punish the top, but you guys get scot-free. But if you don't find the top, like if none of you guess the top, then the top gets out the top gets out scot-free and you guys get punished. Or if only a certain amount of you, or whoever guesses the top, but if none of you do, then only the ones who guessed get out, and the top and the ones that don't leave. I don't know. I guess I'll have to see how this story unfolds. But yeah, please give me back the back button. But anyways, if you would like to play the demo yourself, you can find it over on Steam. And because it is marked as adult, I cannot link to it. Because, you know how YouTube is. Thankfully, there's nothing lewd that I have to censor right now. So, you know, I can post this as it is, and not have to, you know, blur anything. But yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, you can find it over on Steam, and it has a Kickstarter, so if you would like to back the project, you can back it over on Kickstarter. So, you know, your names would be in the credits and stuff, and maybe you can, you know, influence maybe the development of the game in a way, you know, giving them money, you know, hey, by the way, it would be very good to have a back button. But yeah. I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode, which, again... Oh, no. The next episode will actually be Core, and then After Class, because Core just got updated. And actually, some of you guys actually like Core, and I like it too, so I'm going to be doing that next. So yeah, this is just for Friday, and since it's going to be Friday is New Year's Eve, right? Oh, that's tomorrow. So I probably won't see any of you guys then. So, if I don't see you guys, or if I don't comment on any of your the comments on YouTube in time, I wish you all guys a Happy New Year's, and hopefully next year is better than this year was. And yeah. Feliz Año Nuevo y que les vaya bien a todos ustedes. Bye bye.